And of course I'm...
Okay, so I guess, well, we were all at the last meeting, so maybe we don't need to do a recap.
Yeah.
I think that was mostly for Raphael. I was thinking about if you wanted it, but everything is in the action plan, I think, that we talked about.
Okay, I'm just looking that up now. And 6. Okay. Just gotta open these in separate. I'm sure there must be a way to open these in a separate window, so I can look at you and still see the document.
Yeah, I mean, you can pull out the I don't know what browser you're using, but usually you can pull out the tabs and open up new windows.
You are right. All right, very good. Okay, here we go. All right. So are we gonna start by looking at the action plan?
Let's see. Yeah, I guess that's probably the easiest. Everything seems to be in there at this point. I was thinking that maybe one of the things we might focus on first is the technology accessibility, since they're working on developing out those pieces. So that might be a good starting point.
Okay, that sounds good. Equity. Heating materials, action plan. Okay.
So, I don't know. Does anyone have any thoughts on, like, what we should think about focusing on with technology? I don't, I mean, I know we're all doing other things as well, so we might have brainstormed a lot of things last time, then maybe we want to just focus on one or two to start.
I think that's a good idea. So, so I'm looking now at the action plan. So I guess one thing to talk about would be how we disseminate that low-cost internet idea. Like, how do we, I mean, do we just post it on the mini group, or is there some other way we want to communicate that to other organizations?
And that I actually added in, so you'll notice in the action plan that I didn't do it on my original deadline, but I went back and added in that first link, which is really neat, is that you can sign up as a partner to help distribute that information.
Oh.
So I went ahead and tested it out. I put my contact information with the garden, and they have all kinds of like posters and flyers and options, and there's like, you want to share video instead if that works better for your programs. And so I just requested like flyers just for me, just to test it out. And then I did put a comment on the contact us about, just kind of exploring some new visuals for them, because a lot of their language is about students need internet to like learn at school. And I thought it would be really neat for us about the learning loss that happens during like summer and out of school time, and how internet can help kids continue learning, and then also and then just probably information about like kids can earn badges online and also at these museums and other cultural institutions, etc. So it's just one of those things that I send it out, maybe I'll get a reply. There might be some more context on there, but at least with the information that they already have, they have a lot of tools. So in terms of dissemination, I think it's pretty simple for people to sign up as like a partner to help disseminate, and everything that I came across was free. I didn't click on everything, but it was all free. Like, they'll mail it to your organization, and then you can decide how to distribute from at least that first link is about internet.
Mm-hmm.
The second link is about a free cell phone.
Wow.
And then so you can see that most of it is for using texting, which is okay. I think that's what we're looking for. And I did see some articles about there being cell phones with internet that are going to be offered free, and there was like a plan for that to be done by like November, December of 2013, and so it's not. So I think that that's like the latest, the most current, that at least, even if parents are interested, for their, son or daughter to have the cell phone, I think that that's a really good option. And both of these links are for low-income families. They do have like their certain guidelines, but most people, if they qualify for like free or reduced lunch or certain programs like that, they qualify.
Are they national programs? Yeah. Excellent. So I think we should probably. I think we should post this on probably a Hive and New York mini groups. I mean, why not, right? I can post to the New York.
Yeah.
If I don't know, if you just want to write up what you just said, and then post it to Chicago, I can copy that and post it to New York.
Okay. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah. I'm sort of wondering about maybe making like a flyer or something that they could share with students. I could see if our graphic design team is able to put something together.
Oh, that would be great. So that's something more targeted for us. That would be great.
I was also thinking when you're talking about, I just heard about Connect Chicago, which is, Dan O'Neill is, I think, the head of that. He's with Smart Chicago Collaborative, but it's basically a map that shows you where there's free internet access around the city.
Oh, that's cool.
The tool. I'll paste in the link. Yeah, so if Maurice, if you're able to get together just some basic text, I can pass that on and see what David is able to do here. And they have a pretty quick turnaround.
Okay. Yeah, if you can get the flyer done, then as soon as that's done, then we can post it on the mini group with the resources. That'd be great.
Yeah. How are we thinking that information might connect to the badging, or do we want it to?
I think it should connect to the badging. I think it's good information for everyone to have. But I also think that, and I think we should post it as just a, hey, here's a resource. But I think we also should, in whatever post we have, say, if you're doing badging, this is a really good way to make them accessible to students who may not have access to internet or technology. So I don't think that's really an answer.
And going back to like the comment that I like when I sent an email to them, like an inquiry email about like learning happens through like access to internet and technology, and it's also a way so that people can share what what learning is going on during these out of school times, and that's the badges. Digital badges are a way to share what the learning is going on as well. So I think it might be helpful to have someone help with like that language, but I think that definitely just those couple of points can be added to that flyer possibly.
All right. Well, that seems like some relatively a straightforward thing that we can do fairly quickly. What else did we talk about with technology?
Did anyone have? I mean, I guess we did kind of talk to the technology. Was Simeon was on the last phone call, right?
He was at the very end.
Right, yeah, because it seemed to me like a lot of the other sort of technology access pieces were the kinds of things that needed to wait until they had more time and we were
Yeah.
dealing with the summer of learning. So I'm not sure how much progress we can make, except for brainstorming ideas of what we might like to see happen. Because I think that's going to be sort of the big creative challenge is going to be like, okay, if students don't have access to technology, how do we leverage the technologies they do have and make badges fun and engaging? Um, and I know that Karen and Crystal had talked a little bit about trying to make the text messaging more interactive rather than just getting like a notification
Mhm.
that, you know, yay, you got a badge or whatever, but to have it be either more of a back and forth. So in the text message, if they have a smartphone, maybe there's a link. If they have MMS texting, they could get an image, or they could be, if they don't, it could be some kind of ASCII image.
Mhm.
But trying to think about how you would do that. Mm.
Yeah, any other thoughts on that? I mean, we can certainly do some brainstorming now, or we could try to get more people in on it maybe at the next full group meeting.
Yeah, we could definitely, I mean, I think if we have thoughts, we should brainstorm now, but it could definitely go on the agenda for the next whole group.
Cool. Yeah, I know they mentioned the ASCII images, but that they wouldn't have time to develop that, so that might be something that we could help out with in terms of developing.
Oh, that's right. That's true.
Or teams that we have that would be interested in creating.
So, there you go. That would be cool because you guys do have the team program. I don't know. They do a fair amount with technology, don't they?
Yeah, a bit. What else?
That kind of brings me back to something that we talked about last time, and we were like, well, maybe not yet, but some kind of like teen advisory group.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly the kind of thing that we could say, you know, we want to make this engaging. What do you think? You know, develop things that you think would be fun. But then I don't know who those teens in that advisory group would be and how we would get them together, and that's a big logistical thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we all have teen programs, and we would want teens from different programs. But that's just one more commitment, and it would be it would probably have to be some kind of after-school meeting somewhere in the city, centrally located. I mean, I guess potentially we could do it after school on the days of the Hive meetings, so that if people are already downtown, they just hang out for a couple hours and then meet the teens at the library or whatever. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Another thing that I'm wondering is, just about like so you earn the badge, but we want them to share them. But if they're earning it like via text, like they really can't share it to like a teacher unless they have like their teacher's cell number and like can text a teacher, or other college
Right.
eventually or other institutions. So I'm wondering if there's some kind of format or way that like they would be able to like print like where they're all compiled together and you can print like your text messages somehow. I don't know. I'm just trying to.
Yeah, that's interesting because I mean you do get like the text message back and forth like the stream.
Yeah, I don't know that we can get away from the fact that they're going to, if they're giving this to like colleges or employers, they're going to have internet access and access. I mean, they're going to be applying on the Common App. Everything is online anyway.
Yeah.
But like for me, trying to think about ways, I was just trying to think about like how when they're doing those processes, how to like prompt them to remember, oh yeah, I have these badges in this place.
Right.
Go there and look at those.
Yeah.
But the printing text messages is a cool idea. We should. I jotted that down as a brainstorm piece.
Yeah. But I think that also sort of that prompting to remember, like if you're filling out an online application or you're creating a multimedia resume, because there was that site that Project Sincere connected us to, and I can't remember what it's.
A work ready grad.
Yeah, Work Ready Grad. That has some really cool, like, online, like, resume building and career building functionality.
Mm-hmm.
But how, if a student is in a place like that, do you, like, send little, like, oh, don't forget you have this archive of badges that you can share? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. True. I guess that might actually start to bleed into the. I mean, we know that we've talked about all the groups are overlapping, but that sounds a lot like valuing too.
Yeah, it does. We could send a quick note to Jamila.
Yeah.
And
see what they're doing on that side.
Yeah. Or so Samantha, I guess. Samantha and Jamila seem to be heading that group up. So.
I just realized that I'm supposed to be note taker. Jen, are you taking notes on the document?
I am, because I was sorry. I just usually jot.
No. Thank you, because I'm like in Jen's office with her computer.
It's gonna be tough anyway. Any other like brainstorming ideas on how to leverage technologies? We have more interactive text messaging with images or links, and possibly we could help with creating images. Thinking about how to share the badge out with printing text messages, and then maybe connecting with the valuing group and seeing what they're doing in terms of like accessing badges when you need them.
So one other thing I can think of, which would take some grant funding, but maybe we could get that, would be to create like a almost like a lending library of iPod touches or iPads or something, so that when kids could like check out and take away and bring home, so that while they're in our program they could have some kind of mobile technology. And that gets really tricky with trying to keep track of them and getting them back, but I'm just kind of thinking of like some kind of lending library of technology. I don't know how it would work. I'm just kind of throwing it out there. Because then while they're in the program, at least they would have the technology to use, which might then motivate them to seek out one of those free internet sites at some point afterwards, or something like that. I don't know. I don't know if that's asking for trouble or if it's something that would work really well.
I wonder if we might see if anyone is currently doing that.
Yeah.
And how it's worked for them. I can't think of anyone offhand.
No, I can't either. It just like, because I was thinking, I mean, we have like a group, like how many? 20 iPod touches that we use in our programs, and we give them to kids during the day, and we take them back when they go home. But I mean, wouldn't it be cool if we had, 20 of them that we could lend out for the duration of the program? So if kids went home and they were doing something, they're doing something at home that's relevant, they could then capture that and bring it back.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a cool idea. I was just thinking, we have a few. We've been thinking about something similar with that recently, and have been playing around with letting like interns take home computers over weekends.
Oh, uh-huh.
Um, I just don't. I don't know that the teams that we work with necessarily are like the target group for if we're exploring equity issues because they seem to have a lot of this stuff at home.
I mean,
And
probably project exploration. And I don't know, Amaris, how many of our kids have?
Yeah, I mean, some probably a good like 50% may at least.
So maybe
It would
we,
be helpful for them to take something home. Yeah.
okay, so we might be able to pilot test it here with some of the kids. And I know definitely project exploration, but they also work with a younger audience. So we're not talking about high school students, we're talking about like 5th to 8th graders.
yeah,
And that gets a little bit more complicated because they're just not as responsible. I mean, some are, but you know, it's you grow up and they're just. I mean, of course, some high school students are totally irresponsible. So you know, but the project exploration might have a group they wanted to pilot test it with, because they really do work with that population that just most of them don't have access to technology.
yeah, that's a good point. I wonder if so they have the that wouldn't be enough. I was thinking about those mini grant things that they're doing for the moonshot groups. If there was any moonshot group that would fall under this as a
Well, what are they? They're only $500, aren't they?
yeah, it's pretty small. So
But we could conceivably propose something in the next Hive RFP, like one of the really small ones. Like, I mean, we don't need that much if we're just getting, iPods. So I don't know. We can look at how much they cost now. I have no idea, but we would only need, the iPod Touch, like the basic model, right?
yeah, we actually had a lot of good luck with the Nexus 7 tablets.
Oh yeah. How are those? How much are those?
Those are only about like $250, I think,
Oh.
at most. It probably is actually cheaper. I don't know offhand.
I mean, that's an iPod Touch right there. So maybe, and I'm sure the tablet does more.
Well, I think the iPod Touches were more when we were pricing them out. I don't know. I forget offhand now. We just got a bunch. I can look and see what the cost was and share that out.
That would be cool, yeah. Because, I mean, if we got, one of the, what are they, the Spark, small ones, the Spark grants for like $5,000, I mean, we could get 20 or, 15 at least of these. I don't know. I'm not.
Yeah, that's something to look into.
Yeah, 20 of them, plus tax probably, 15 to 18. And then we could share them out across institutions that are issuing badges so that students could then, and I think that would be a good addition to the project. And I think they would buy that, it makes sense in terms of the funding, but who knows? But it might be worth it. I don't know when the next RFP is going to be, probably December.
Yeah, I guess if they follow their same timeline.
But there might be other organizations that are interested. I mean, we could hit Google up. Go and see if they were interested in, supporting some hardware. They could give them all Google Glass. That's it. Yeah, what is it? What are some other? Yeah. So I think we should do that.
Yeah.
I can. I think we should post on the mini groups and see if anyone is doing it now and how it's working. I don't know that it is, but that people are. But yeah, we should do that.
Would these lending libraries be would everyone kind of involved in CSTEM have technology there, or would there be one central location?
I'm guessing it probably makes more sense to have a few at each location rather than trying to centralize it. I think we should have a centralized process. So whatever that process is should be standard across organizations. I don't know. Because, yeah.
I like the idea of like a few per org, and then like, for maybe, the requirements for this, like the 2 students like in your program that would take them, like maybe there's like they have a role with like, whether it's tweeting about badges or something with each other, like, and so that kind of helps like the communication of like team to team from program to program about like the badges. And that goes back to like our point about access to pathways. So they're kind of like hearing it from other teams rather than hearing it from like the adults in the programs.
That is a cool idea.
And it's building like this community through them.
So I think we should ask Hive for 20. I mean, the Spark grants I think are 10,000 maximum. So we could put something together that was like, this is how many tablets we want. We're going to distribute them across CSTEM organizations. This is what we're going to ask students who take them out to do on a regular basis, with the idea of supporting teen community development and pathways. I think that would be a pretty strong sell.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Excellent. I'm excited about that now. I'm like,
we had 2 goals in 1.
You know what actually would be interesting to know, and I'm guessing they don't, but whether the libraries lend out technology.
Yeah, I was wondering that too, and I feel like they do something, but I can't remember details now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can see about that. Jeremy goes to most of the Hive meetings, and I'm assuming if they did it, it would be in connection with the U Media group, but maybe not.
Right.
But, yeah, that sounds interesting. I sort of want to try it out.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at. I don't know whether this is actually. I just was Googling it on the website. I don't know when this is from. New York and Chicago libraries loan hotspots like books. Oh, and this is actually a news thing from June 23rd this year. So, so they might, and actually that's an interesting idea. We'll have to think about how that would work. If we're lending out tablets, do we also want to have hotspot lending? Or we can just tell them to go to the library. Interesting.
Oh, yeah, the hotspot.
Yeah. But that, of course, means you have to have something with internet, you have to have a computer then already.
Yeah. Sorry, you say Chicago Library does lend out hotspots, right?
Yeah, that's what but this article is just from June of this year.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't know where, I didn't read it. I just Googled this up. So this is really new. So they just got a grant to implement this from the Knight Foundation. $400,000 to the Chicago Public Library System to do this. And it'll start in New York, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Media project.
Internet to Go project.
Yeah. So they're not doing it now. So it's going to be pilot tested in 6 neighborhood libraries. They don't say where. But so anyway, so we're on the cutting edge. There you go. But I think, yeah, I mean, even if they're not connected to the internet, you can do an awful lot with a tablet. Um,
Mm-hmm.
mm,
Yeah, I was just wondering. I don't know if do you know if For All Systems works on Android operating system?
yes, it does. It does. Actually, I've been using it on my phone.
Oh,
It works really
okay,
well.
great.
Yes.
So it sounds like maybe it would be worth maybe in our next meeting sort of detailing out that idea a little bit more and what it might look like to implement.
Yep. And in the meantime, I'll post on the mini groups to see if anyone else is doing it already, and if they've had any experiences with it, positive or negative. Um, so, this equity. Do we have anything? What else was on our agenda to talk about?
Oh, youth voice.
Create systems of tags.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so that was sort of with the technology piece if we wanted to
Right.
tagging.
I think we do want to do that. I guess the question is, how do we go about creating a system?
Yeah, I don't know. um, well, maybe we should. I mean, I think that's another piece that really needs sort of work with the technology group.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We can table that for a bit.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think, if I'm remembering correctly, doesn't For All already have, I mean, it kind of already has a system for tagging, right? It has standards. So, to me, it just,
Sort of taken care of.
yeah, so it would just be us deciding what we wanted our tagging protocol to be. Because I think it's going to be easy, at least for Karen and probably for Simeon, I'm not sure. You know Utopia better than I do, so I don't know if it has that embedded in it already. But at least for All, I don't think it would be hard to create, using the same code that they use for standards, to create some kind of tagging system, because that's essentially what it is. We just need to figure out what it is that we want to tag. And I don't remember what our discussion was last time around, like, what we had, why we decided we wanted to do it. It makes sense to do it, but I don't remember what the end goal of that was.
Yeah, it was in connection with the thinking about like ways to open up other for youth to see other opportunities within the CSTEMBE community. So if they got a badge, like the tag would trigger other programs they might be interested in.
Aha.
Similar to what Cecil is doing, I guess, really.
Which I haven't dealt with Cecil this year. I should get on it and explore it a little bit. Are we issuing?
Yeah, I ended up setting up a fake like youth account.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely a work in progress. They keep fixing things as they go, which is sort of nice to see the changes. And then it does, like, having the programs pop up once you get stuff and show you different challenges that you could do is sort of fun.
Okay, that's cool. I'm glad it's working. Like I said, I have to get in there and create an account and poke around a little bit.
Yeah, the back end is a little messy, but that's okay.
Is it working better than it did last year?
I wasn't involved too much last year, but I think it's a lot simpler.
That's good.
It's up to the organizations how they want to use the system. So I think that's better. and you're not forced into like iRemix and all these other things.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Just curious.
Yeah. Well, I guess we can. So the other thing that was on the agenda was youth voice, which we sort of touched base on, or talked about, mentioned with a teen advisory group. Is that something that we feel like pursuing, or?
What I don't know is whether I don't know. Maybe it's something to bring up at the larger group meeting, because I don't know if it makes sense, for example, for us to have like a mini advisory group to just run questions by that we have about things that we're thinking about, or if we want to do something bigger and have them address questions that everyone is thinking about. Because I know the valuing group had decided they were going to table the teen part of it until they had something to show them, to say, okay, here's this thing, now give me feedback, which makes sense. But if we have things that we want them to essentially to do or to think about now, I don't know. What do you guys think?
I guess I could go either way. I sort of get a little apprehensive about waiting because I feel like you can put a lot of time into making something.
Yeah.
And then it's already like forming, it's already influencing their opinion because they don't want to, it's the whole thing with people not wanting to give criticism on something that looks like it's almost done because they don't want to hurt your feelings.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they give like better criticism when things are in the prototyping phase, or better critiques. So that, I think I would edge towards like getting one going earlier so that we could start building relationships with them and get more authentic feedback. But then the other thing we did talk about too is just sort of gauging what groups are currently doing in terms of youth, and maybe utilizing like current groups to give feedback on what we're already doing, and making sure to share out that information. So that's all I have.
So one group that I can think of that might be really interested in engaging with this is Youth Muse. Because they're all about they're all about sort of like multimedia technology, and we worked with them through this, what is it called? Oh, it's still around. It's I can't remember what they called it. But anyway, we worked with them summer before last on a multimedia sort of PR campaign around the environment. But it might be worth talking to Deb Carr to see if some of these questions are questions that the Youth Muse group might be interested in tackling for us.
Yeah, I guess I'm not too up on what they do. So
they're vague.
Okay.
They're vague. But I think they do have a group of teens who do things around multimedia and technology. So this might be something I can email Deb and see.
Yeah, that'd be great.
If this is something that people are interested in, and our programs, like this would be something peripheral that we would be asking them to do, because it doesn't really fit into any kind of sort of mission-driven or like the focus of the program. So I don't know, Maurice, if you feel like it would make sense to have any of our students think about this, unless we wanted to ask them to do it separately. If there are kids who you thought might be interested in doing it. And then the other thing I was thinking about is, if we do have a youth advisory group, it seems to me we should like give them something, some sort of like, thanks for doing this with us. And I don't know if that's a stipend. I don't know if it's a gift card. I don't know if it's like free coupons to Subway or Chipotle. Like, I don't know what that would be,
Mhm.
but it seems to me like something, just recognizing that they're contributing to the project, or maybe they become, we put them up on our website and recognize them as youth advisory board members and make it sort of a formal thing they could put on a college application or a resume.
Yeah. If you get a badge.
Yeah, you can get a badge and
Yeah.
a badge and
Um,
a badge.
Yeah, I mean, I think we would be. I think you're right that we should give them something for their time. Um,
I mean, I don't think it has to be big.
no, yeah,
Just something to be like, thanks, we appreciate this.
yeah,
I think we should definitely give. I think we should definitely give them badges. Um, like if they participate for multiple years, like yes, you contributed to the CSTEM project in 2014. So you could get a 2014 advisory board member badge. You could get a 2015 advisory board member badge. So, and maybe we could even have different like roles, like secretary, or the head of the youth council, or whatever. We could structure it so that it, has sort of inherent, I don't know, hierarchies or whatever, so that people could sort of move up the ladder. But first, we have to create the group. Or I don't know, maybe we want to create the structure first, or we can create the group first and then ask them, how do you want to be recognized?
Yeah.
How do you want to
Yeah.
be recognized? How do you want to organize yourself?
That's what we do with our youth leadership council. We sort of let them organize themselves after they've come together the first time. I was just thinking maybe it would be worthwhile to talk about this one like after a Hive meeting, and
Oh, yeah.
we could catch Deb in person, and maybe that Moonshot group that's working on like youth participation
Yeah.
also have some ideas.
Yeah. And they may have a group already.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I know that they have been like, I think the most active in like getting some concrete things together.
Uh-huh. Okay. Are you writing this down, Jen, or do you want me to?
I'm jotting it down.
Mm,
Are any of you going to be at the August meeting time?
I think I'm planning to be at the August time. I'm not going to be able to do September, I know, but I think I'm going to be there in August. That's the 20. Yes. Yes, I will be there in August.
Okay. I think actually Deb might be the head of that Moonshot group. Now that I think about it,
Deb.
would you?
Oh, yeah. It would make sense if she were. So,
Yeah. Would you want to reach out to her and see if we can have some time on? I'll be at the August one too. We can talk about it then if there's a chance.
yeah, so maybe I'll email Deb and see if she, and I don't know if any of her teens are coming. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But if she can hang out for a half an hour or an hour after the actual meeting to sort of talk about this and what their group is doing, or maybe we can crash their youth participation Moonshot group.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, I know this meeting is going to be unfacilitated, so
Oh, really? So it should.
it might be a little shady.
So okay, so then we can just crash it and no
Then
one will
crashing
know.
is appropriate.
But I'll email her and let her know that we're going to be doing that.
Good.
Um,
So we have like a few minutes left. Did anyone have anything else they wanted to discuss? Otherwise, maybe we can figure out some action. I mean, I've been keeping a list of like action items, but
there it is. Where have you been where?
oh, in the agenda. Sorry.
No, in the. Oh, because I'm still looking in the action plan.
Mm.
Okay, so that's not where. No. Ah. Okay, well, I trust you.
Okay.
Equity working group. There we go. Yay, agenda. Okay, so I think that sounds good. I think actually we did a lot today.
Good.
So the to-dos, to summarize, is Amaris is going to write some text about access to technology and send it to you, Jen.
Yeah.
Then you're going to have your communications department see if they can create a flyer to get back to us, and then we'll post on mini group. And then I'm going to post on the mini groups to see if anyone's doing technology lending and email Deb.
Yeah, and I have I am going to also share out some of that tablet pricing so we have an idea of how much.
Oh, right, yeah. Okay.
Next meeting we can talk about that idea a little bit more in detail about what it could look like. And then I also have a note if someone is able to connect with the valuing group about the badge access, like when you need it, maybe with that work ready grad or those pieces.
Do you want to do that, Mike?
Yeah. What is it?
Just see where the valuing group is on.
On prompting teams.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
This part about prompting teams on how they're going to remember their badges.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Who do I contact for that?
Jamila and Samantha Hedges.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, that sounds good. And then I'll prep up a little blog post again.
Excellent. You're so good. I still have to do my first one from the integration group.
Yeah, well, sometimes late at night I get the urge to. Okay.
All right. So, are we going to sign off then?
Yeah, I think we're good. Our next scheduled meeting is. Sorry, I had to go back to calendar. September 3rd. Does that still work for everyone?
It still works for me.
Still works for me. Yep. Yeah.
Okay. I guess we can do another Google Hangout. I was thinking it might be nice since we're all in Chicago, maybe at some point to just do a face-to-face meeting, but.
Yeah, we totally can do that.
Maybe we can talk about that next time too.
Yeah, to schedule an face-to-face meeting. I think that's always good. Face-to-face meetings are so much nicer, but
Summer was so busy then.
Yeah.
Extra transportation time. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe the fall will slow down slightly.
Yeah. And I don't know, Mike, I would love at some point, because the Anti-Cruelty Society is pretty new to the project, I would love at some point just to hear more about, the programs that you're doing. So I don't know if you feel like hosting our in-person meeting.
Yeah, we have a great, conference room space here.
And then we can play with the animals too.
Yeah, definitely.
But not to sort of impose on you, but I just think that would be nice because just to sort of get familiar.
Yeah, I agree completely.
Cool. Excellent. All right.
Have a good rest of the week.
Okay, thanks.
All right,
you too.
thanks.
Bye, guys.